The industrial cleaning solution burned my nostrils as I pushed the mop across Quantum Tech's pristine laboratory floor. From the corner of my eye, I could see my former colleagues trying not to stare, their faces a mix of pity and discomfort. Just yesterday, I had been Dr. Emily Zhang, Senior Quantum Computing Engineer. Today, I was just the janitor. My story isn't about a fall from grace, it's about patience, persistence, and the sweet satisfaction of letting your enemies think they've won. Make sure you get under the equipment, Direct Morgan, my former manager, called out as he passed by with his afternoon coffee. Can't have dust affecting our real engineers' work. The emphasis on real made several nearby engineers wince. I kept mopping, maintaining the same methodical precision I'd used when calibrating quantum processors. Direk had no idea that every stroke of the mop was counting down to his downfall. It had started 6 months ago when I made a breakthrough in quantum error correction, a holy grail in quantum computing. Current systems lost coherence too quickly, making them impractical for most real-world applications. My solution was elegant, almost absurdly simple once you saw it. Like many great discoveries, it had come to me in an unexpected moment, while watching my daughter's spinning top maintain its balance far longer than it should have. I had followed proper protocol, documenting everything and submitting it through official channels. But Derek had been threatened by my success from day one. As an older engineer watching a younger woman rise quickly through the ranks, his insecurity had turned to hostility. "Your calculations must be wrong," he'd said dismissively when I first presented my findings. "It violates basic principles of quantum decoherence." Actually, I tried to explain, it works with decoherence, not against it. "Here, let me show you." But Derek had already turned away, a habit he perfected over the 2 years I'd worked under him. Later that day, I'd overheard him in his office, phone on speaker. "Yes, Dr. Martinez, I've reviewed Dr. John's proposal." "Complete nonsense. No, not worth your time. I'll handle it." Dr. Isabella Martinez was our CEO, a brilliant physicist herself who'd built Quantum Tech from a startup into a $2.8 billion company. She was also, unfortunately, on a 3-month sabbatical in New Zealand, studying quantum effects in the Southern Hemisphere's magnetic field. That's when I made a decision that would change everything. Instead of fighting Derek's dismissal, I filed the patent paperwork privately. My friend Raj in legal helped me navigate the process, ensuring everything was airtight. "You sure about this, Em?" he'd asked as we filed the final documents. "Derek's going to lose it when he finds out." "That's exactly what I'm counting on," I'd replied. The next few months were a careful dance. At work, I appeared to abandon my research, focusing instead on routine maintenance tasks. Derek's smugness grew with each passing day. He began giving my projects to his favorites, taking credit for my previous innovations. Then came the final straw. Last week, Derek had called an all-hands meeting. Due to recent performance issues, he'd announced, looking directly at me, "We're making some organizational changes. Dr. Zhang will be transitioning to our facilities maintenance team." The room had gone silent. Even Derek's favorites looked uncomfortable. "You can't do that," Sarah from HR had protested. Dr. Zhang's contract allows for reassignment based on performance. Derek had cut in smoothly. "It's either this or termination. Her choice." I had stood up slowly, walked to the front of the room, and taken the blue maintenance uniform he'd brought for dramatic effect. "I choose to stay," I'd said quietly. Derek's triumph had been complete. Or so he thought. Now a week later, I watched through the laboratory windows as a familiar Tesla pulled into the executive parking spot. Dr. Martinez was back, 2 days early. My phone buzzed. A text from the patent office's automated system. Patent number 11,982,355 status. Apero vide. I allowed myself a small smile as I dumped the mop back into the bucket. The next few hours would be interesting indeed. Dr. John. A young intern approached nervously, holding out a cleaning request form. "There's a spill in Lab 3. "Of course," I said, taking the form. One last cleanup before everything changed. In Lab 3, I found Derek in his element, holding court with his inner circle. They were clustered around my old workstation, where James, Derek's protege, was struggling to understand my research notes. "These calculations don't make sense," James was saying, frustration evident in his voice. The coherence times she claimed. They're impossible. Because she faked them, Derek replied confidently, probably trying to cover up her failures. Classic case off. Classic case of what, Derek? The room froze. Dr. Isabella Martinez stood in the doorway, her presence commanding instant attention. Her eyes took in the scene. Me in my janitor's uniform, Derek and his team clustered around my old station, the clear divide in the room. Dr. Martinez, Derek recovered quickly. Welcome back. We weren't expecting you until. Clearly, she cut him off. Emily, why are you wearing maintenance uniforms? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. The patent office's public database had just updated. Right on schedule. Actually, I said, reaching into my pocket for my phone, I can explain everything. But first, you might want to see this. I pulled up the patent announcement and handed her my phone. Dr. Martinez's eyes widened as she read, her expression shifting from confusion to astonishment. Is this verified? She asked sharply. The patent office confirmed it this morning, I replied, full approval. The quantum error correction system works exactly as my research predicted. What patent? Derek demanded, trying to see the screen. What is she talking about? Dr. Martinez ignored him, still reading. These coherence times. They're revolutionary. Why wasn't I informed about this development? I did inform the proper channels, I said calmly, looking directly at Derek. 3 months ago. I was told it violated basic principles of quantum decoherence. The color drained from Derek's face as understanding dawned. Now wait a minute. Emily. Dr. Martinez's voice cut through the tension like a laser. Take off that uniform and come to my office. Bring your complete research files. She turned to Derek. You too. We need to have a very interesting discussion about communication protocols in this company. As I walked out of Lab 3 for what would be the last time as a janitor, I heard James whisper to another engineer. The coherence times in her notes. They weren't impossible. We just couldn't understand them. No, I thought, they weren't impossible. They were just waiting for the right moment to become obvious to everyone. The next hour would change everything at Quantum Tech. But first, I had a mop to put away. After all, proper maintenance is important, whether you're dealing with quantum systems or corporate hierarchies. Dr. Martinez's office had always impressed me. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Silicon Valley, walls lined with her physics awards and patents. But today, sitting across from her desk in my maintenance uniform, while Derek squirmed in the chair beside me, it felt like a courtroom. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, Dr. Martinez said, scrolling through my research files on her dual monitors. You developed a quantum error correction system that maintains coherence up to 300 times longer than our current best technology. Yes, I replied, by using environmental decoherence as part of the correction mechanism rather than fighting against it. That's impossible, Derek interjected. The mathematical models clearly show. The mathematics is sound. Dr. Martinez cut him off. I'm looking at it right now. In fact, she turned her screen toward him. These equations are elegant, revolutionary. She fixed Derek with a stern gaze. So why was this project killed? Derek's confidence wavered. The preliminary review suggested. Which preliminary review? Dr. Martinez interrupted again. Because I'm looking at the project logs and I don't see any formal evaluation, just your email declaring it not worth pursuing without any supporting analysis. The room fell silent except for the soft hum of quantum computing servers in the labs below. I sat quietly, watching years of Derek's careful politicking unravel in minutes. Dr. Zhang, Dr. Martinez turned to me, walk me through how you discovered this. For the next 30 minutes, I explained everything. The initial insight from my daughter's toy, the mathematical modeling, the experimental proof of concept I'd run after hours. Dr. Martinez asked sharp, insightful questions while Derek grew increasingly pale. And you filed the patent independently? She asked finally. Yes, I replied. After my work was dismissed internally, I felt it was important to protect the innovation. Under your name only? Derek suddenly looked hopeful. That could be a problem with your employment contract. Actually, I pulled out another document from my folder. I filed it under a joint patent structure. 70% assigned to Quantum Tech, 30% to myself as the inventor. Raj and legal helped ensure everything was properly handled. Dr. Martinez's eyebrows rose. You kept the company's interests in mind even after being demoted to maintenance staff. Quantum Tech's mission is to advance quantum computing, I said simply. That's bigger than any personal grievance. A small smile played at the corners of Dr. Martinez's mouth. Indeed it is. She turned to her computer, typing rapidly. I'm calling an emergency board meeting for this afternoon. Emily, I want you to present your findings. In that, Derek gestured at my maintenance uniform, trying one last time to maintain some control. No, Dr. Martinez pressed her intercom. Sarah, please come in. Sarah from HR entered, carrying a garment bag. Everything as requested, Dr. Martinez. Emily, please change into proper attire. Sarah, stay. We need to discuss some immediate personnel changes. In the adjacent executive bathroom, I found a new blazer and skirt in my size. As I changed out of the maintenance uniform for the last time, I could hear raised voices from the office. You can't be serious, Derek was saying. I've run that department for 6 years. And in those 6 years, Dr. Martinez's voice was steel. How many innovations have you personally contributed? How many patents? How many breakthroughs? I emerged to find Derek standing, his face flushed. This is ridiculous. I'll appeal to the board. About that, Dr. Martinez smiled coldly. The board members have already received copies of Emily's patent approval. 3 of them are physicists. They understand exactly what this means for our company's future. Would you like to explain to them why you tried to bury this discovery? Derek sank back into his chair. Now, Dr. Martinez continued, let's discuss your new role. We have an opening in facilities maintenance. You can't be serious, Derek whispered. Actually, I spoke up, surprising everyone including myself. I have a different suggestion. They all turned to look at me. Derek has strong project management skills, I said carefully, and he clearly understands the importance of maintenance. Why not put him in charge of maintaining our legacy systems? The old classical computing infrastructure still needs supervision. Dr. Martinez studied me for a moment. Interesting. You're proposing a lateral move rather than a demotion. Revenge makes for poor system architecture, I replied. Better to optimize for efficiency. Derek looked like he couldn't decide whether to be grateful or insulted. Very well, Dr. Martinez nodded. Derek, report to classical systems on Monday. Sarah will handle the paperwork. She turned to me. Dr. John, we need to prepare for the board meeting. And after that, we should discuss your new position as Director of Quantum Innovation. The next few hours were a blur of presentations and paperwork. The board meeting went exactly as Dr. Martinez had predicted. The physicist members immediately grasped the implications of my breakthrough, while the business members understood what it meant for Quantum Tech's market position. By evening, I was back in my old lab, now with a new nameplate on the door. Dr. Emily Zhang, Director of Quantum Innovation. James and several other engineers hovered awkwardly in the doorway. Dr. Zhang, James stepped forward. I want to apologize. We should have questioned things more. Science is about questioning everything, I replied, including authority. Remember that in your own work. Over the next few months, Quantum Tech transformed. My quantum error correction system became the foundation for a new generation of stable quantum computers. The stock price tripled. Derek, to everyone's surprise, turned out to be excellent at managing legacy systems, perhaps because it was harder to fake competence with older, well-documented technology. Dr. Martinez stopped by my lab one evening as I was working late, fine-tuning the next generation of the system. You know, she said, examining the complex array of quantum processors, you could have gone to any of our competitors with this patent. Why stay loyal to Quantum Tech? I thought about it as I adjusted a coupling parameter. She laughed. In the systems and in management. Everything's quantum, I smiled. It's all interconnected. A year later, I sat in my new office, not quite as impressive as Dr. Martinez's, but with its own view of the valley. On my desk stood a framed maintenance uniform badge alongside my latest patent plaque. Together, they told a story about patience, persistence, and the quantum nature of justice. My daughter's spinning top sat in a place of honor, a reminder that inspiration comes from unexpected places and that sometimes the best way to stay balanced is to keep moving forward. The quantum computing industry had been transformed. Our error correction system was becoming the standard, licensed by competitors who couldn't afford to fall behind. Quantum tech was leading the revolution, and my team, now including several promising engineers who reminded me of myself a few years ago, was pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Derek still ran into me occasionally in the building. He'd nod politely, perhaps remembering the humiliation I'd spared him from. I'd nod back, remembering that sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about building something so impressive that their attempts to stop you become a footnote in your success story. As for me, I kept the lesson close. In quantum mechanics and in life, what appears to be a collapse of possibilities is often just a system finding its true state. Sometimes you have to let people think they've observed your final position, only to demonstrate that uncertainty was always part of the equation. Dr. Martinez and I still laugh about those days when I wore a maintenance uniform. "You could have revealed everything immediately," she said once. "Why wait?" In quantum systems, I replied, timing is everything. Release the coherence too soon, and the whole thing falls apart. Wait for the right moment, and the waveform collapses exactly where you need it. She understood perfectly. After all, that's what real quantum engineering is about, not just controlling the particles, but understanding when to let them find their own path to stability. Now, as I watch new engineers join our team, I make sure they understand the most important principle in both quantum computing and career advancement. It's not about avoiding interference, it's about using it to create something unprecedented. And sometimes that means letting people underestimate you, letting them think they've confined you to a classical role, while you quietly operate in a quantum state of superposition, preparing for the moment when everything snaps into perfect, irrefutable clarity. Because in the end, the best comebacks, like the best quantum systems, aren't about force. They're about finding the natural frequency at which truth resonates most clearly.